You're tuned in to the NNW podcast. Fresh takes, big energy, no nonsense. Let's get into it.
Hey, stop for a second. Are you a heating and air business owner that may be looking to sell or may be looking to sell in the near future and you don't know where to start? Well, you're in luck. Our friends Patrick and Josh Lang over at Business Modification Group want to help you. They want to help you evaluate your company and get you positioned to sell. So reach out to them at 850-669-2498 to help through this process with you. And as always, we're never not working. Now back to the show. Welcome again to the Never Not Working podcast. As always, I'm your host, Will Basko, and today I've got a great honor, the first lady on the show, Grace Kaznecki with GoodLeap. Grace, welcome to the show, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on.
Well, one, I'm excited to be your first lady, and two, I'm excited to just spend time with you. You just have such a great energy. I love spending time with you.
Well, thank you. What's cool about this conversation is the past people that I've had on, I've known for years and years, which me and you just kind of, started this relationship a couple months ago. We got to go to Denver and spend time on a work trip together. That was phenomenal. The whole team was there. And I was lucky enough for you to come sit down beside me at a restaurant, and we started talking, and here we are. 4 weeks later, we're on a podcast together. So, which is fun.
Love it. Love it.
So I do know that we work together at GoodLeap over there. You've been there for almost about as long as me, maybe a year, maybe a year and a half. And you are the head of payments, head of payment solutions. So tell us a little bit about Grace and tell us how you got to where you're at here. And we're going to go into the whole world of finding out about Grace. So nothing's off the table. If you want to talk about high school days, we can do that. But
All right.
So if you're watching this for the first time, this episode or this whole podcast is nothing more than connections. We're trying to connect people to Grace professionally and personally. So we're going to ask questions of who she wants to meet professionally and personally in the show. But anything that we can do to put people together, that's my superpower that people are telling me. So if this is your first time on the show, please hit that subscribe button so you get alerts knowing the new episode drop. But let's get into this. Grace, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, let's see. I was born and raised in a little tiny, not raised, it was Kansas. And I moved around a lot as a kid. So I was in Lawrence, I think, just till I was like 6 months old. I lived in Idaho. I lived in West Virginia. We spent some time in Philadelphia, went down to Florida. And then what I describe as my formative years were spent in Philadelphia. We went back to Philly. And then once I graduated college, I left the great state of Pennsylvania and moved to North Carolina.
Well, where'd you graduate from college?
Where did I? An all-girls Catholic school,
Okay,
Immaculata
awesome.
University in Pennsylvania.
All right, perfect.
Yep. And I graduated. Now, I first started, I thought I was going to be this great, fashion journalist. So I originally went to a college in London, the London College of Fashion, and realized I'm not really cutthroat enough to make it in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
So went and pursued my degree in psychology, which frankly has served me well throughout my entire career. So while I thought I was going to be working in more of an actual psychologist capacity, my first job out of college, I went straight into really the banking world. So got to Charlotte, and I spent 15 years there working for Wells Fargo.
Okay, I love Charlotte. My wife's got a psychology degree, which is funny, and she loves fashion. That's what her whole life. She'd always say, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "I'd really like to be in fashion," which is really funny. So, and this right here is perfect for our conversation because when you start diving deep into people's history and don't just skim across the top, you really get to know how people are connected. Just like that, my wife kind of fell into the same category of really want to do fashion, but graduated with a psychology degree, and she needs it with being married to me.
Psychology degrees are really I think everyone should be required to have one.
That's right. So you started with Wells Fargo in Charlotte. You lived there for how long? 15 years?
Yeah, I lived there for about 15 years with just a really, strong upward trajectory at Wells Fargo. And I worked in a lot of different areas of the bank. I started in the investment bank, so I worked on the trading floor. Me and like 200 men, 300, 400, I don't know, there's a lot of men
Which
and
is
me.
always fun. Yeah. Like earning kids.
And yeah, and I worked in several enterprise roles. I worked in wealth management. And I've had a variety of really a very broad career across risk, technology, product, wealth management, that's given me just this breadth of experience. And then it was a connection that made me leave Charlotte and move to where I live now, which is in South Florida.
Yeah, and that's what we actually talked about at lunch, where how connections work of just randomly finding somebody. So that's what's funny is I tell people a lot, one of my greatest stories of me, I haven't applied for a job since I was 16. It's literally just connecting, and that's what I do is relationships. So here you are at Wells Fargo doing all those different roles and all in that banking, and for some reason you moved to Florida through a connection, and then you landed here at GoodLeap?
Well, yeah. So it first starts with I moved to Florida because I like when it comes to connections, I'm very intentional about it. So someone that I worked with invited me to dinner. We were in Minneapolis at an offsite. It had been a really long day. I really, frankly, did not want to go to dinner. I didn't want to be social anymore. I was tired.
Yeah.
But I always say yes to an opportunity to connect with someone new. So me and this guy who I have worked with a little bit over the past year, and we go to dinner. And he says to me, Grace, I have a personal question to ask you. And I'm in my, upper. He's like, why are you single?
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I'm difficult. I make bad choices. I'm not sure. So he says to me, listen, I know this is going to sound weird, but I think you and my best friend would get along really well. And I'm like, well, tell me about him. And he does a terrible sales job. He's divorced. He has a 3-year-old. He lives in Florida. I'm like, no, thank you. That sounds complicated. But what he then said was, if I had a sister, I would want her
Okay.
to date this guy. So
Yeah.
anyways, I was like, fine, say yes again to another connection. So he connects me to this gentleman, and he truly was that. He's called me, and then he called me the next day, and then he called me like every night at the exact same time for the next 3 months. And at the end of the day, we met in person, and he convinced me to leave my life in Charlotte and move down to Florida and take a risk. And he's now my husband, and I have
Yeah.
3 children. So I moved down to Florida. I'm still working for the bank.
Okay.
And then the former CFO of Wells Fargo, he left Wells Fargo. And now it was someone who worked for me at the time who had found a job posting on LinkedIn. He's like, this is really weird for me to send this to you, but this job feels very aligned to your personal values. I look at it and I'm like, GoodLeap? Never heard of GoodLeap. Don't know.
Sure.
I'm working for a global bank. Like, I don't know what GoodLeap is. So I look at it, it says a mutual connection of yours works here. And I'm thinking it's some salesperson, not an actual connection, but
Yeah. Somebody you connected with on LinkedIn that you have no idea who they are.
no idea. Yeah, exactly. Turned out it was the former CFO of Wells Fargo, whom I knew very well, had worked for twice in my career at Wells. So I reached out to him to just say, what's going on? Like, you left Wells and now you're at this place. Tell me more. He's like, can you Zoom in 2 hours? Which was, again, here was this guy. Like, he is the greatest leader I've ever worked for. I really, really admire him. So now he's like, 2 hours from now, let's Zoom. So we get on a Zoom and he tells me all about GoodLeap and how inspiring the mission is. And he's like, strangely, we're hiring in South Florida. And he's like, we just need some killers to come on over here. And 9 days later, I had a job offer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And here I am.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit what you do here at GoodLeap. I know what you do, but tell the people that are watching.
Yeah. So when I was hired, I actually was just hired to like do stuff. And in doing stuff, we identified an opportunity to enter the payment space. So I am head of payment solutions, and that means a couple of things. One, I'm responsible for the money movement for all of GoodLeap. So we provide financing to our contractors, and somehow they need to get that money. So I'm responsible for moving billions of dollars out the door to fund these loans to the contractors. I'm also responsible for how our homeowners that take these loans out repay those loans on the servicing side. So the billions of dollars coming back in the door. And then the more exciting piece that Will, I know you play with and we partner a lot together is we have a merchant services platform now. And I've spent the past 18 months building this merchant services platform, which allows our contractors to not only offer financing to their customers, but hey, maybe they want to use their Amex and get some points. So now the contractor can take out our app, tap that card right there. They can take a picture of a check because sometimes grandma wants to write a check. Any way a customer wants to pay, we now have that capability. So I run sort of those 3 strategies.
Okay. Yeah. So phenomenal job. We have grown leaps and bounds from, hey, we're going to do this to where we are like 18 months ago. So it is fun being out there slinging those payment options to these people. So that's what I do every day, which is fun. So again, this is about connecting, which is already seen how connections work. Because if you didn't have that connection, you'd still be in Charlotte. You'd still
Yeah.
be at Wells
Who knows?
Fargo. You wouldn't be single by now. You would be married to somebody.
Thanks for adding a little hope into my where my life could have been.
Yeah. So what's a moment in your life where a single connection changed your direction other than that right there? Was there something that you can stem back to, even from high school days? Because funny story, I just went to a school playoff football game. My alma mater just won state, and I haven't seen some of these people since high school. But it was just so fun just to rekindle. People walked up, Basko, what are you doing? I haven't seen you since 1994. Dating myself there for a little bit, but it was just so cool. And I thought about that sitting there. I'm like, these connections are going to last for a lifetime, even if I wasn't real friendly to the people. They know me. They know me maybe being a jerk in
Right.
high school or being a friendly guy. So what other than that guy leading you into a path of professionalism and personal life, finding you, helping you maybe getting that husband out of the way?
Yeah, that was a big one. That was a huge left turn, a huge left.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the ones I think about when you ask this question is so when I was in college and I had finally, left my finance or my fashion dream and now I'm pursuing psychology. I really wanted to focus on organizational psychology. Ultimately, like my dream in life would be to be an executive coach, right? Like I just love helping people find their superpowers. And so I'm in college, I'm dreaming big. And there was a company that I really idolized at the time called Hey Group. And that's what they did, executive coaching, organizational psychology. And I really wanted an internship really badly. So I went through their like traditional apply for an internship channels and nobody was responding to me. So I decided to go on to the page and press like, I'm interested in your services and pretend that I was a company to get
Yeah.
somebody to just call me.
Yeah.
Never forget, this guy, Matt, calls me and he's like, what do you, and I was like, listen, I'm just kidding. I'm a college student. I really want to have an internship with you over the summer. I'll work for free. I'll come into Philly. Please hire me. He's like, listen, I'm going to pass you off to this guy, Rob. So he passes me off to this guy, Rob. I convince him to let me work for free all summer and just learn from him. So he takes me under his wing. And this was right after 9/11, right? This is like
Okay.
2001. This man is an amazing executive coach, had worked for the LPGA, the NFL, like sports psychologist. And during the course of this internship, he had explained to me that he lost his dad in 9, which was a really sad story. And so he wanted to honor his father's legacy. And so, I knew about this. We were connected for a summer and summer ends and I go on with my life. And so fast forward to about, I don't know, maybe it's nearly 10 years later.
Okay.
I remain connected on LinkedIn and places like that. I'm in New York City. I see on LinkedIn that he's in New York City because at this time I had already moved to Charlotte. And I reach out to him and I'm like, "Hey, I would love to see you. It's been a decade. You had a really large impact on my life." So I meet up with him in New York City. We talk about where my career has gone and where his career has gone, and he tells me he has started this nonprofit for honor his dad called Hold the Door,
Okay.
and the intention is really helping people through loss and adversity. So we hang out, see you later. And a few months later, he calls me and he says, "Grace, I would really like for you to join my board. I want you to be on my board." And since joining this organization, it's just a reminder of how you can take such a tragic event like 9/11 and turn it into something positive to help people change their lives. And so now Rob and I are super close. We talk all the time. We're working on coming up with like an AI agent for, we're trying to stay with the times with the nonprofit. And he's just become a huge part of my life that I
That's cool. That's really cool. It's so fun just getting to connect to people that change your life. I mean, I was telling my son the other day that I have some friends from high school, I'm gonna say middle school, that I could pick up the phone that I haven't talked to in 30 years, but I could pick up the phone today and call and say, "Hey, I need you to do this," and I know that yeah, I'll come do it.
Yeah.
It makes all the difference in the world. So
It's, as you're saying that, there's one other story that I think is even more impactful to me. And again, it's in connections and just giving back. So I don't drink. I've been sober for like 20 something years.
me too.
And I was on a work trip, like big awards trip or whatever, and the head of the business was there with his wife. And at one point she comes up to me in the middle of the trip to let me know, like, "Hey, like, are you sober? Do you not drink? Because I've been watching you for several days." And I said, "Yeah, yeah." So she ends up confiding in me, that she's had her own struggles and she'd been sober for many years and she had recently fallen off the bandwagon and she just really needed a buddy for the next, few days. And so this turned out to, the CEO of this business, have sat out his side of his office for years. And he was like, "I had no idea you had experience with this." Anyways, long story short, she ended up having some really challenging times. And I helped take her to get help and get her life back on track. And it has a very positive ending. As a result, she started a nonprofit for the homeless called Running Works. And I'm also a big runner. So I'm a big marathon runner, love running. And she was too. She's an ultra athlete, Timex sponsored, like an
Okay.
amazing human. So one day I'm volunteering at Running Works and I'm running with the homeless population. And this man comes up to me and he says, "Grace, I would like to thank you for saving my life." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, Miss Meredith told us what you did for her and that you saved her life. And because you saved her life, she saved my life. And so ultimately, really, you saved my life." And it was this profound moment where you realize that compound effect again of connection. You show up for someone, they pass it on, and you're literally changing the world one person at a time.
It's the chain link effect. That's what
Chain link effect.
I keep saying this chain link. I just visualize this chain link and just getting longer and longer and just adding stuff to it. It clearly shows the effect that connections have on people. And people think that it's not important to one, be friendly to people or, hey, I'm not going to get in your space or I'm not going to, but if that lady didn't get out of her maybe comfort zone and come speak to you, one, you set a standard of living a way that she saw that was different and then drew her to you and said, "Hey, I've been noticing that. I want to talk to you. I want to connect with you." And
Yeah.
that connection led to something phenomenal, saving lives. I mean, how much better is that than
I
anything?
mean, it was just a profound moment because I'm out on a run, like just, you don't expect that kind of thing. And you never do it because of that.
Yeah.
You're just showing up authentically to be there for another human and really it's all just share your experience. Like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I've been there. You can get from here to there." And that's really what I gives me the most satisfaction in life. You know,
Yeah.
I love my job, but
What habits do you have to maintain and build connections?
I'm incredibly intentional. So, one, I'm a big lover of the handwritten note. So when I was at Wells, this was really a lot easier because we had this concept of interoffice mail no matter what location. But every Friday, I carved out time on my calendar and I had a stack of note cards and I would write a letter to someone. It could have been someone I interacted with in the past week, someone I met at an offsite recently. I used to carry a notebook with me, and when I met someone new at an offsite, I'd write their name and something personal I learned about them, and then I'd write them a note. And the amazing thing about doing that, my gosh, I'd write someone and they'd write me back. I got pen pals. And two instances of this. Again, you're just being authentic and intentional, and you're keeping these relationships alive. And so there was a really senior gentleman that I had connected with at an offsite, wrote him a handwritten note. He wrote me back, and then he scheduled a quarterly meeting. We would meet quarterly for lunch. He just thought the handwritten note was awesome. So I would meet with him quarterly. And eventually there was a job that came up, and I asked him if he knew this hiring manager. He's like, I know that person, no problem. He put in this good word, and then, I don't even think I interviewed. Another instance of this was I wrote this woman I had worked with many years ago, and I just adored her. And a couple months later, I actually needed her help with something. We didn't work together anymore. So I call her up. I'm like, hey, Kristen. And the first thing she says, Grace, I have your notes sitting on my keyboard. I have been meaning to write you. What do you need? And it was awesome. So handwritten notes. The other thing that I do, I have a very long commute to and from work. On a good day, it's an hour. On a bad day, it's an hour and a half each way. So a couple times a week, I pull up my phone and I'm like, who haven't I talked to in a while? It could be someone I haven't talked to in years. And I just call them out of the blue. Like, I don't even know if they have my number in their phone anymore. And I'm telling you, people answer almost, 95% of the time. And they're just like, Grace. And I have these 45-minute conversations, catching up with these people, and then they're just back in my life again. And I love it.
Yeah, it makes all the difference in the world. I've got a good friend that does that, and he'll call and pray for me. He'll say, "Hey, you're on my prayer list. What can I pray for you about?" Which is awesome.
That's
The
beautiful.
handwritten note speaks volumes to me because I worked for a gentleman named Jay Kimbrough he has passed away, that I actually went to high school with, created his own business, and I went and worked for him. And that's something he instilled in me. He brought me like a stack of little thank you cards one day, and he said, "Here, I want you to write your customers." I'm like, "Man, heating and air guys don't want to read this." And he's like, "Will, I'm telling you, it's going to change their lives." And sure enough, so I went through my, top 10 and wrote out cards, sent them out against my will. Really, really. I was like, okay, well, I got to do this because my boss is telling me that. But I got calls. Hey, man, I never get a thank you card. Thank you so much for thinking of us. And so it does change lives. So if anybody's out there watching and thinking that handwritten notes don't go anywhere, it's a lost art form. Nobody's doing it.
Right.
When people go to their mailbox, what do they get? They get
Bills.
bills, and car warranty information.
That's right.
It's really,
Another thing that this made me think of too, another thing that I do that is appreciated it's always an unexpected level of appreciation, is when you are connecting with someone, like understanding what's important to them, right? And I had a recent, met someone, and she had this goal that she wanted to accomplish, and she was really, nervous about it. And we had been talking about like, here's the move you're going to make, and like, just do it. And she did. She went and did it. And so I knew I was going to see her at an event coming up, and I bought a very small, like a little angel that said courage. It was
yeah,
like $10.
yeah, sure.
And I wrapped it up and I wrote her a card and told her like she's a badass, and I gave it to her. And she got emotional. She's like, this just like my mom didn't even understand how much this meant to me. And just that you honored this moment, because her career, her life trajectory was changing because she decided to be bold.
Yeah.
And so just remembering milestones for people, even if it's a text message or you send them a $10 something, that's just honoring what it meant for that person to accomplish that goal or that milestone or whatever. I mean, you're leaving just this feeling in them that whenever they hear your name or you call them, like they're going to remember that feeling that you gave them by being intentional.
Absolutely. People forget a lot of things, but they don't ever forget how you made them feel.
That's right.
I say that all the time. So something that we do on this episode or on all the episodes is I am the world's best I know a guy scenario. So any conversation somebody says, "Hey, I need this," I'm like, "Hey, I know a guy that'll do that." So I ask the questions of who do you want to connect with? So and that's professionally and personally.
And can these be like famous people?
It can be absolutely the last guy that I had on there, a friend of mine named Theo Stanakis with Mingledorf's, he wanted to meet Mike Rowe from like Dirty Jobs. And he said, "Well, it lines up perfectly professionally and personally because I want to meet him on the professional level, but I just think he'd be a cool guy to hang out with." So
Yes.
I had one guy, my first guy, what's really funny is my really good friend of mine, Patrick Lange. He wanted to meet somebody that's in the peanut farming business. And it lined up her because I've known this guy for 10 years and I had no idea he wanted to get into peanut farming. I am literally from the peanut capital of the world. My brother-in-law runs a peanut factory. So hey, I know a guy. So, Grace, I'm putting you on the spot here. Who do you want to meet professionally? And then we'll jump into personally.
Okay.
And it
So,
can be the same
who-
person.
so they're different for me. Who I want to meet, and this is someone like I've met from afar, but I want to sit down and have a conversation with, are the co-founders of Stripe. Okay, so Patrick and John Colson, they're these genius entrepreneurs that built this huge fintech payment processing platform. They're dreamers, they're movers and shakers. I mean, you watch all their LinkedIn, social media posts, they're funny. They think about things in a really, really critical way. We're a customer, but I just want to pick their brains on how they have these big dreams and then make them happen.
Yeah,
How did they manifest this incredible company that they built?
sure. Perfect. Yeah, great answer. And so, people that are watching, if you know these people, call us. So, now that's on the professional side. So, on the personal side, who would you want to meet?
Okay, so on the personal side, have you ever heard of a man by the name of Jesse Itzler?
I don't think so.
Okay, so he is an entrepreneur. So he founded a company that ultimately was bought by NetJets. He's an author, an entrepreneur. He is a huge athlete. Like he's running ultra marathons. And he's the owner of the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
And he's married to
I know who you're talking about. Okay. When you said
Okay, he's married to Sarah Blakely, who
yep.
founded Spanx. Okay, so this is a power couple, but
Gotcha.
they're just the most down to earth humans. He intentionally seeks out people. So he went and he lived with a Navy SEAL for 30 days.
Okay.
He also went and lived with monks in silence. And he is very intentional about creating what he calls a life resume versus a work resume by meeting all these different people from different backgrounds to really round out who he is. He hosts all these different challenging physical events. Like he has this Everest event that he hosts that I really want to do one day where you basically walk and run up and down a mountain, the equivalent of
Mount Everest.
the height of Everest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just, I don't know. You watch his podcasts, his TED Talks, read his books. He's just this
Sounds
inspiration.
like sounds like the only thing he hasn't done is been on the Never Not Working podcast.
And you're right. And he would be a super fun guest.
I mean, let's do
He
it.
dreams it and makes it happen because he's got connections everywhere. He'd be a great guest.
Let's do it.
You need to get Jesse.
I'll see
Yeah.
if I can find him. Well, again, Grace, thank you so much for your time. I know that it was quick, it was easy. Thank you for allowing me to dig into your life a little bit and learn more about you. There's some things I didn't know, but again, we only got to spend an hour with you at lunch one day, so
That's right.
phenomenal working alongside you. I hope that we get to rub elbows more in the future. Anything that you want to sign off on with connections? What's something good that you can other than writing thank you notes or personal notes to anybody or making phone calls, what's a personal way that people can be connected out there?
here's my advice. Make sure you see everyone. So that security guard that you pass every day when you're going into work, stop. Ask him his name. When I lived in Charlotte, it was impossible for me to leave for lunch because I knew the shoe shine guy. I knew the barber, me and the lady who would make my salad every day. I knew all about her kids. She knew about my kids. And it was like she'd skip me right to the front of the line because I did one thing. I stopped and I asked them their name. And then every time I see them, hey, Michael.
Yeah.
Hey, Trisha. And that makes people feel seen. And so there's no person below asking someone their name. And make sure you see everyone as you walk throughout their day and just pause, ask them their name, and create a connection.
Great advice. People want to be talked to. They do. There's some people out there that don't, but the majority of people want to be noticed, want to be seen, want to build connections. So again, thank you for your time. I hope you guys have a great Christmas, Happy New Year, all that good stuff. But again, thank you for spending 30 minutes out of your busy day and allowing me to dig into your life.
Thank you, Will. I hope you have the best holiday. And thank you for the honor of being the first woman on your podcast.
Absolutely. I'll have to get you back on here later. Once we get to 1 million episodes or something like that. So,
Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, Will.
so
Thank you.
so everybody signing off. Thank you for watching the show. Remember to click the button to subscribe to the show, and then all of Grace's information will be in the body. So just dig into that. If you're a company out there looking for a finance or a payment option, by all means, call us here at GoodLeap. We'll help you get all that stuff squared away. So I'll sign off now, and as always, I'm Will Basko with Grace Kaznecki, and we are never not working. Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye.